Welcome back to GrowTube, and we're continuing on our journey to demystify self-esteem, which is very simply how you feel about yourself. Now, in case you haven't watched my earlier video when we talked about the elements that make up self-esteem, now might be a good time to check it out. But in any case, I'm going to do a very quick recap. Esteem means how we regard something, which is whether we think it is worthy of our respect, our admiration, our trust. It depends upon our past experiences, on our perception of competence, and our perception of intention. And this is how we view other people or other things, but this is exactly how we view ourselves. So to try to feel better about ourselves, it's not about dressing better, wearing a certain color, looking a certain way. No, those are just gimmicks by which you try to fool other people that you are confident. But if you really want to feel good about yourself from within, you want to feel confident about yourself, you want to love yourself, then this is where you need to focus. And like we talked about the earlier time, we said the starting point is intention, because look, it is the biggest element. I have a question for you. Let's say you needed to hire somebody and you were told he wasn't very skilled, he wasn't very competent. You might still hire him because you can build up a person's competence, you can train them. But what if I told you that this person you're hiring is very skilled at his work, but he's a criminal? The chances are you wouldn't want to hire him. And that's my proof to you that intention is more important than competence. So as you are looking at yourself, you're looking at, are you capable? Are you well trained in what you're doing? Are you competent? Can you put out a great product? You feel good about yourself. But the most important thing is intention. And that's what we're going to look at today. So what makes up this thing called intention? It's very simple. It's really about you realizing that life doesn't give you away. Life is not telling you what you need to do. Neither are your parents, neither are your siblings, neither are your peers. You need to put meaning into life. So the first question is, what are you doing on a day-to-day basis? Are you doing what you intended to do, or are you just going along with the flow? I have a lot of young people I talk to nowadays, and they all want to go and they want to study finance. And look, I have nothing against finance. It's a great line to be in. But they want to go into finance because it seems to be a trend. You know, it's like it's trending. So they're going along. They're doing that because their friends are going there. And I know that very soon these people are going to reach my doorstep or the doorstep of someone like me. And they're going to say, we don't feel good about ourselves. What can we do? Can we change our hairstyle? Can we wear something different? No. They've got to look at what did they do? What are they doing? Was it their intention? I know this lady, she was working with a very big bank in a very senior position as well. And somewhere in her mid-40s, she realized it was not her intention to just work in corporate and earn lots of money. She felt very drawn to the idea of working for the environment. Well, she was in a good enough position where she could leave her job and then full-time focus on building the environment. She's done some great work and she is so happy with life and so happy with herself and so confident. It's really wonderful to see because she followed her intention. But what if you're a person who's in your 20s, 30s, you know, there are the economics of life and you're working in a bank or you're working somewhere and you can't quit the job because you need the money. Look, we all do, and that's the reality of life. What happens to your intention then? The first thing I think you need to remember is that wherever you are, it was your choice. Whether it was for the money, whether that was the happening job at that time, it was still your decision to be there. Now, I don't say that as blame, but I say that to show you how powerful you actually are. That everything that you've done in life has been your choice. And I think the minute people recognize that, they feel better about themselves already, because it was their choice. They are exactly where they chose. They weren't forced into it by anybody else. And half their resentment and half their protest goes away. So take a look. If you feel you are not where you are, look at this closely and you'll find that you are exactly where you chose to be. Now let's say that you found that your interests are different. You want to be more out in the open. You are more a sports person. Or let's say that you wanted to be a theater actor. You realize that you're in your mid-20s, 30s, 50s, and you realized you wanted to be an actor. You can't leave your job still. You wanted to be an actor, all right? You realize that now you still can't leave your job. You need the money. Well, then you need to see, how can you weave acting into your life? Can you go to theaters? Can you learn a little bit of theater acting? Join a local club. Maybe you can even open a theater club in your place of work, right? So by slowly weaving in your interest into your current life, you are now leading a very intentional life. And guess what? You're going to feel a lot happier about where you're working, because you don't feel it's just being pushed down your throat. You also have time for what interests you, because you're weaving in it a little bit more and a little bit more. And from there, if you remember, competence. So you're becoming more competent day by day as being an actor. Maybe you just watch a lot of plays and you watch what people do to be good at acting, and you build up a few tips, or you join a local club. So now you're becoming more competent in this new area of life, and your self-esteem will grow. What happens to past experiences? Like I said before, if you're living in the future and you're really focusing on the here and now, actually. You're doing your actions here, you're becoming more capable here, you're learning, practicing and growing in the here and now for a great future. Past experiences melt away. You really feel good about yourself. I hope this helped. If there is anything that you want to know more about this topic, drop in a comment and I will follow up.